Yeah.
Keegan Bradley today did your rose neighbor study was in Hawaii. Keegan, you're making your 13th start at this event. Your most recent start, you finished runner-up to Grayson last year. He's been on our minds a lot this week, and I'm sure he's been on your mind as well.
Yeah, he certainly has. Weird feeling yesterday playing the 18th hole for me. Last time I was on that green, I was there with Grayson. So really sad, really a horrible thing. But hopefully we can honor him, his legacy here for a long time.
And you played last week at this country. You finished T15. Just thoughts on overall state of your game as you head into week 2 of the 2025 season.
Pretty good. Maui's never a real great place for me, so 15th is a pretty good finish. But I always feel a lot better coming here after Maui. I feel sharper. My legs are in better shape after hiking around that place. So I always feel a little bit sharper here.
With that, we'll open it up to questions. Doug? Go ahead.
Everyone seems to talk to you about your play as it relates to Ryder Cup, basically. I'm more curious about what your outlook is on this season, Ryder Cup notwithstanding. Building a flat team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still on my mission to be the best player that I can be one of the best players in the world. I haven't won a major in almost 15 years. You know, I really want to contend in majors. That's number one on my list. I've won 3 years in a row. I'd like to make that 4 years in a row. But I really want to be looked at as one of the best players in the world. You know, me being the Ryder Cup captain doesn't have anything to do with that. I still feel like I'm in the prime of my career, playing the best golf I've ever played, and I want to keep building on that. Yeah. It's really good. I mean, I went a long time without winning, so, you know, I've really tried at this point in my career to enjoy things more, and, like, when I'm in the final group at BMW or Hartford or whatever, I look around and, like, take stuff in. I tried to do that at President's Cup, especially on Sunday. I really am trying to, like, remember the feeling, remember how nervous I was, remember what it was like to walk out of the locker room for the last time, maybe at the President's Cup. Stuff like that. I've just really tried to enjoy the ups of the golf world.
Some question here probably, but where did you learn that from? Someone advised you, or did you
No,
learn it on your own?
I really regret early in my career. I regret a lot of things. I regret not enjoying the process more. I mean, I won the PGA Championship and the trophy was in my closet. Like I was on to the next thing. I didn't take the time to cultivate many relationships, and I felt like, I've been over this a ton, but I felt like everybody was my enemy. I felt like, it was me against the world. And I look at this generation now, and they're all like best friends. And I just think that's incredible. And they're not inside the ropes. They want to beat each other.
I was going to say, if you talk to some of the old guys, that's one of the questions they have about this generation is the friendliness they have. I'm talking about probably the 80s. Those guys were never friendly with people, and they wonder if it's affected the competitive level.
I really don't. That's how that was my thought process. Was like, I can't be friends with this guy that I'm going to be playing against. And I always would come up with things in my head that they thought I was terrible or whatever. Like, made it up, and I believed it. But these guys have a different outlook on life. Like, I say this a lot, but for Scotty Scheffler, Xander, the top players in the world, it's really hard to be that good at something and be that nice. Like, you have to have such a killer instinct to be the best in the world at golf or business. And these guys are like the nicest, most friendly. Like, Xander is like, he's such a laid-back guy. And then you get him out in the golf course, and he's just a killer. And it's just, they're going to live a much happier life than out here than the guys in the 80s did, than I did. But they are really competitive with each other. Like, I think it can get a little uncomfortable, for sure, because I'm at the President's Cup, and we're getting ready to go for the opening ceremonies or whatever, and I'm standing there with Sam, Scotty, Xander, and Colin. And I'm looking at this group of guys, and I'm thinking, these 4 guys are going to be basically playing against each other all year long for majors, for history, for legacy, and they're like joking around, they're like best friends. And I know that this group here is going to have a lot to say in the future of golf. And I just thought it was great. Well, Brendan, I became very close with Brendan, like very, very close. He's gone now, but that was even a couple years in. And Steely's such a great guy that, we just bonded right away. But outside of that, I didn't have many. I had friends and Phil and stuff, but these guys, they go on vacations together. They, spend time away from golf that I didn't necessarily do. I do with Steely, though. So probably 4 or 5 years ago, I really wanted to make another team. I really wanted to play, and I felt like I was getting passed over a few times, and I really had to think this probably could be my fault. I wasn't making much of an effort to get to know the guys, for them to get to know me, and also came with trying to enjoy. When you go through such a horrible stretch in your career, you really appreciate the good times a lot more. And so I promised myself, if I get back to this level, I want to enjoy it more. And so I decided, I was going to make more of an effort to show. And part of doing the Netflix series was to have people see the real side of me. It's tough for me to be myself at a tournament. I'm an anxious, nervous guy, so it's tough sometimes. Yeah.
I've heard this was really interesting. I think it was KT going to Valhalla. You deal with it.
Yeah.
This is not being recorded, right? We were talking today. Who's going to be left to do the Ryder Cup in the PGA since everyone's involved in that?
I know. I saw. Who did I see? Saw someone from the NBC the other day. And I was like, you got a lot of shoes to fill. But, they're going to be a big asset to our team. And, Kevin, I sort of moved up the timeline with Kevin because of his obligations with NBC. I wanted to make sure if he couldn't do it. But, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
What do you think he brings?
So Kevin brings... what I was explaining early in my career, he did the exact opposite. He cultivated all these relationships with everybody. They love Kevin. Kevin's a guy's guy, bleeds red, white, and blue, is a proper locker room guy. He's not going to be patting you on the back every time. He's going to mess with you, joke around with you, but also keep it very light. And I really what I envy most about Kevin is his interactions with the players, his insight to certain players' personalities, his competitiveness, but really just what happens if Kevin walked into this room right now. He changes the vibe. And when you're in a room with, all these Ryder Cup players and everyone's nervous, you need guys like Kevin.
Also, did you play here in 11, do you think?
I did.
Can you try to imagine what it's like for some of these rookies here for the starting a season here, with the 100 cars instead of 125, compared to whatever level of nervousness or any type of a cutthroat feeling you had as a first time?
It's a scary feeling. I think back to me. I walked out. I got here for my first event. I walked out to the putting green. Ernie Els was on the putting green, and it was like a holy cow moment for me. But this West Coast swing is so important to rookies, and I didn't know how important it was when I was here. But it's a real daunting feeling because you worked your whole life to get here. And now you have to play the best golf of your life maybe to keep your card. So I look at the rookies, and part of me is I look at them and I'm so jealous that they have this all in front of them. That they have this fun journey that they get to do. And then another part of me is like, man, they got a lot of pressure on them starting right out of the gate, and they're going to be nervous. And I wish them all the best. It's a really tough business to be successful in.
I'm trying to think, the players, you made it to the players, is it
Mhm.
is that after Dallas? That was before Dallas, right?
It was. Jeez.
Players, you must have done something.
I did. I finished top 10 at Bob Hope, but I can't remember if Dallas was before players or not. A handful of us got in. I remember Steely got in, but that was a huge deal. That was when I remember the purse was $10 million, and I couldn't believe it. 10 million was like shocking. Now it's like, yeah. No, it's not. It's definitely not. Well, I really like when my dad was at my last win, and we signed the card. I'm the most nervous when I sign my card for the day because that's when you can lose focus and screw something up. So I try to focus in, and then when I left, I said to my dad, these next 3 or 4 hours, really try to take everything in because this is the moments you're going to remember for when you win. You're not really even going to remember the putts. You're going to remember getting the trophy, going into the locker room, signing all the flags. And so I really try to take moments, like I said, and put my phone down and look around and look at people in the face, remember what I'm hearing, remember the feeling that I had, and really trying to remember how much hard work it took to get here. And just, when you win a tournament like BMW, you've beaten the best players, and it's a big deal. So I try to remind myself, and try not to think about, I got to go, now I got Tour Championship next week, I got President's Cup I'm trying to make. Try to put that all aside. So for the BMW, my dad had never been there for a win, and we went out to dinner with Scotty, my caddy, Manny Vajegas, and my dad. And you sit there and you go over all the shots and the feelings, and I hit this really bad shot here, and I knew this was a pivotal moment, but I made that putt, and everyone's so happy. And I like to sit back and look at the joy in everyone's faces. Like Scotty, my caddy, he just won. He's made a ton of money. He's pumped. Look at my dad. He's euphoric from this whole thing, and it's just a proud moment for me. Manny's one of my buddies. Yeah, he was flying out. I was begging him to come, and he popped in. Horrible. This was of all. This is the only tournament that I can think back of in my career where I definitely should have won, that I didn't win. So I've been fortunate enough. The ones that I should have won, I've won a bunch of them. I lost in a playoff at Riviera, but Bill Haas made this long putt, and I birdied 18 to get into the playoff. Here, I was in control. I felt, especially on the back nine, and I really felt like I should have won this tournament. And so this leaving here didn't feel like normally you have a second or third you're still leaving really excited. I didn't have that feeling here. I was bummed out. Yeah, what's any news? Okay. Yeah, it's sad. I played with 4 guys from LA today, and they're stressed out. Their families had to evacuate, and their homes could be gone. So sad. Thank you, guys.